As you're starting your woodworking business, you may be asking yourself the question, should I pursue commercial work or working with businesses, or should I pursue direct-to-consumer sales or B2C, business to consumer? And so in today's video, I'm gonna dissect the pros and cons of each of these and ultimately give you my diagnosis of what I think you should do. Let's dive in. All right, well, as always, welcome back to the channel. I'm so grateful for you, glad that you're here. And in today's video, we have a unique video. I'm excited about it. We're gonna talk about the pros and cons of focusing on trying to go find commercial work or focusing on selling direct to consumer, selling to the general public, okay? We're gonna go ahead and start with commercial work. So just really quickly to define what is commercial work, you're working with businesses. B2B, so business to business. You're working with other businesses and selling your goods or services to those businesses, okay? So let me talk through some of the pros of commercial work. So number one, and this is probably the biggest one, is that typically if you're working with businesses, let's say that you have new restaurants that are coming into your area, you have new businesses that need conference tables or need cabinetry or need all the office furniture for their new business. Guys, these can be big ticket jobs, okay? So the first pro to commercial work is big ticket jobs, without a doubt. You might be signing or creating invoices that are $30, $40, $50, $100,000 that if you land that one job, it literally might float you all year. And so landing commercial jobs and some of these things being super high ticket, super big ticket invoices, guys, it can be a game changer for your business, okay? So number two, and this is probably my favorite pro of doing commercial style work, is that you're working with professionals. You're working with people that are successful. You're working with people that have their wits about them, have grown and scaled their own businesses. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people in businesses that it's by the grace of God that they've scaled their business. They're kind of a goober. They don't know what they're doing. They might be super high emotion, high anger. They might be hard to deal with. That does happen. But most people that are working in business, they're professionals. They're good at what they do. Now, they do have high expectations. They expect you to do good work, but they're also going to be really clear in their lanes of communication, most likely, and you're going to have probably an overall more positive experience selling commercial work and the people that you work with as opposed to direct to consumer, okay? So number three, the third pro of commercial work is that typically there's much more clear expectations for what they're wanting, exactly what you're going to deliver, and making sure that there is no discrepancies between the two. Because you're dealing with professionals, they're going to make sure that everything is lined out. You know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. They know exactly what you're trying to accomplish, so on and so forth. So, okay, here are the cons of commercial work or B2B work. Number one is sometimes it takes a long time to get paid. If you're working with a really big company, they have net 30 or net 60 or net 90 terms. So what that means is after the good is delivered, they don't pay for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. Some brands might not even pay you when they say they're going to pay you. That is the big challenge with commercial work. Now, that's not normal. Most brands that you might end up working with aren't so big that they won't pay you quickly. But if you work with a company that has 40, 50, 100 employees or more, they're probably set up on terms for payments, most likely, okay? So number two, this is the second con for commercial work, is that it's very easy to underbid your jobs. It's very easy, guys, to misquote, underbid, not have a good idea of how much time and energy it's actually going to take you to accomplish these giant jobs. And so I see this happen all the time, especially in the contracting business, where people come in and say, yeah, I'll remodel your house or build the house or do whatever, and I'm going to charge this much. It's going to take me this long. It usually takes them 1.5 to 2 times as much time to get that stuff done, right? And it can be the same for you doing commercial work. So number three, the third con for commercial work is, generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, it's just a little bit harder to find these jobs. Pro tip here, get connected to interior designers that work with businesses. If you can get connected to interior designers that work with businesses, they will always feed you a steady inflow of work. Okay, so let's talk about direct to consumer sales, B to C, business to consumer. So what are the pros, in my opinion, of a direct to consumer? Which, by the way, this is how I scaled my own business, okay? Number one is that sales tend to be easier and faster, okay? It's typically faster from the time that you interact with a potential customer to the time that they close. Usually it's a faster transaction than working with a business, okay? They tend to be easier. You have a lot more people that are just normal people that don't have businesses, right? And so it's easier to find those people, okay? Number two, what I found was that direct-to-consumer sales really allowed me to have more production style work in my shop. There was less unique customization. Businesses, when they, let's say they move into a new building, they have a really specific vision for everything that they're wanting. But if you have a product catalog that you can just present to the general public for their dining tables or their living room furniture, their bedroom furniture, their barn doors or their porch swings or whatever it is that you're doing, they're gonna pick one of the designs, customize the length and the width and the color. It just makes it easier on your shop and your team from an internal standpoint. Number three, third direct-to-consumer pro of this, it just ultimately allows your business to start feeling like a more well-oiled machine. I see a lot of businesses that they're constantly stopping and starting, they're constantly traveling out to a job site. They can't ever really get any traction because they can't do the same thing for a long enough period of time. They might get a super custom job that they have to do for some company. It takes them forever to learn it, but by the time they learn how to figure this thing out and get the job done right and get it to them, they never have to do it again. And so you want to be able to skill stack as you go. You want to be able to learn how to build something and then be able to use those skills for a long period of time. And that's going to happen in direct-to-consumer sales when you have more production style work, generally speaking. Now, again, these are not hard and fast rules. These are just what I've noticed and what I've seen. So here are the cons to selling direct-to-consumer, the negatives. Okay, number one, most of all, you're not working with professionals. About 1 out of every 15 to 20 customers that we get, they're crazy. I mean, these people, they're crazy, dude. I mean, people are crazy. If you're selling direct to consumer, you're not working with professionals all the time. People might really stretch their budget to be able to buy from you, and then they have immediate buyer's remorse, and so then they just nitpick your product to death. They demand refunds. They do all kinds of crazy things, okay? This can happen. Not to say that it happens all the time. Probably 1 out of 15 or 20 is a grouchy or grumpy customer that has a complaint about something super small and minimal, and about 1 out of every 200 is an absolute lunatic, okay? I love people. I try to love people, but furniture sales has taught me never to underestimate how crazy people can actually be, okay? So number two, the second con of direct-to-consumer sales is that sometimes there's just unclear expectations. Trying to match up what you're actually gonna build and give them to what they think they're gonna get is often wildly different. Okay, they may think that they're getting something, and you got to figure out a way to communicate on the front end. This is exactly what you can expect. This is exactly what you're going to get when you purchase from us. And then making sure that everything that they want done gets put on the invoice and you do everything that they asked. Okay. Number two, unclear expectations at times. And then this one's probably the one that may drive me the most crazy, that there's multiple points of contact. So let's say, just for example, you're dealing with a husband and wife. You may have a husband and wife come in, they may look at your furniture, the husband doesn't say a whole lot, and the wife's like, honey, I think I want this, and he's like, okay, babe, whatever you want. She buys the furniture. Then when you deliver it, the wife's ecstatic, and the husband nitpicks it to death. The husband's the one that's a giant pain in the rear end, right? You never know what you're gonna get. But having multiple points of contact, which this I guess can happen in commercial sales as well, but I've seen this happen frequently in direct-to-consumer sales. So what is my diagnosis? What should you focus on? This is the moment we've all been waiting for, right? What should you focus on? Both. You should do both. The way that I see it is that you should build the foundation of your business, if you're a woodworker, on direct-to-consumer, pay the bills, and then you should start trying to hit home runs with commercial work. Sell direct to consumer and figure out, how can I hit home runs with commercial work? If you can hit home runs with commercial work on top of your direct to consumer sales, guys, you will crush, okay? So if you're trying to figure this out, if you're stuck, if you're trying to grow your woodworking business and you don't know what to do, you need to join the Woodworking Business Accelerator program. Listen, you've been telling yourself long enough that I'll figure it out. I don't need a mentor. I'll just watch a bunch of videos. I'll learn as I go. I did the same thing for years and I stayed stuck for years. It was only after I got a mentor and I started learning skills that I didn't currently have that I started actually scaling and growing my business. And once I did that, guys, I saw my business astronomically grow. Okay, so I just want to encourage you, check out the Woodworking Business Accelerator program, where we're currently working with over 25 or 30 clients, helping them scale their woodworking business all across North America. So if that is you, go check that out in the link below. I've also got a free resource that you should check out. It's a 100-page ebook that I wrote that just kind of outlined my path and my journey and the business principles that took me from where I was in my garage doing less than $5,000 a month to where I ultimately scaled and sold my business as well. So if that's you, be sure to check it out. But other than that, guys, I love you, appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.